All right, today we're going to ditch the whole six-pack obsession for a minute and talk about what it means to have a truly strong, functional core. We are diving deep into the science, looking at the actual data to figure out what separates just doing ab exercises from building real spine-protecting stability.
So, let me ask you, what really tests your core strength? Is it cranking out 100 crunches? Or maybe holding a plank until you're shaking? I mean, yeah, those are tough, but they might not be the ultimate measure of the kind of stability that actually protects your back and makes you powerful in everything you do.
No, let's talk about the real gold standard, the standing ab rollout. For a lot of people in the fitness world, this is it. This is the peak. It's a movement that demands a kind of full body tension and insane control that very few other exercises can even come close to.
Now, if you've ever used an ab wheel, you know the kneeling version is no joke. But the jump from kneeling to standing, it's not just the step up. It's like jumping to a whole different planet of difficulty. It's a completely different animal that forces every single muscle, from your fingertips to your toes, to fire together perfectly. This is the real test of stability under a heavy load.
Okay, so that's the big question, right? How in the world do you bridge that massive gap in difficulty? How do you go from one to the other safely and actually make progress? Well, it turns out there's a really smart, methodical way to get there. And here's the clever solution, made popular by rosstraining.com, the ramp rollout. As you can see, you just use an incline. This lets you do the full range of motion right from day one, but with less resistance. It's brilliant. Then, as you get stronger, you just lower the ramp. The plan is super simple. 4 sets of just 3 to 5 reps, 2 or 3 times a week. That's all it takes to build that very specific, very intense strength.
Okay, so that's how you do it. But why does it work so ridiculously well? The secret sauce behind the rollout's power, especially during that slow, controlled part where you're extending out, comes down to something called an eccentric contraction.
So here's the deal. An eccentric contraction is when your muscle is getting longer, but it's still under tension. It's basically acting like a brake, absorbing force. As you're rolling that wheel out, your core muscles are screaming as they fight to keep you from face planting. That is a massive eccentric load.
And this is where things get really interesting. See, it's the total opposite of a concentric contraction, where the muscle gets shorter, like when you curl a dumbbell up. And science has found that it's in this eccentric braking phase where some really unique and powerful things happen for building strength and preventing injuries.
And look, you don't have to take my word for it. This isn't just gym talk. Scientists have looked at this stuff really closely, comparing eccentric-focused training to the traditional concentric kind in major scientific reviews. So let's actually look at the numbers. So this table right here, it pulls together the findings from some huge meta-analyses. And if you just focus on that strength column, the data is, well, it's undeniable. A landmark 2009 review by Roig and his team, along with others, consistently found that eccentric training flat out leads to bigger strength gains than concentric training. It's not even close. And if you're a visual person, this bar chart says it all. I mean, look at that difference. We are not talking about a tiny little edge here. When you pull the data from multiple studies, the percentage of strength you gain from eccentric-focused work is way, way higher. The numbers prove it. If getting maximally strong is what you want, you have got to emphasize that eccentric phase. But wait, it gets even better. It's not just about getting stronger. The research shows other incredible perks. Eccentric training is better at making your muscle fibers longer, which is huge for protecting you from pulls and strains. It also rewires your nervous system for better muscle recruitment. And get this, it's even been shown to improve explosive power, like your vertical jump, more effectively than traditional training. And all of this kind of leads to a much bigger, more important idea that standing rollout, it's really an exercise in stability. So it makes you wonder, what should the real goal of our core training be anyway? Raw strength or something deeper? We have to draw a line between core strength, which most people think of as the six-pack muscles that create movement, and core stability. Stability is actually the opposite. It's about preventing movement. It's about creating stiffness around your spine so it's protected, which then lets your arms and legs generate massive force from a solid base. The six-pack is for show, the deep stabilizers are for go. And this is exactly why exercises like crunches can be a real problem. This quote from HMC osteopaths just hits the nail on the head. Constantly bending your spine over and over again, especially under load, that can put some really nasty stress on your spinal discs. For true long-term back health, we need a smarter approach. So if we're throwing crunches out the window,
What do we do instead? Well, we turn to the work of an absolute legend in this field, Dr. Stuart McGill, one of the world's leading experts on spine biomechanics. He developed what he calls the Big Three, a simple set of exercises designed specifically to build that protective stiffness around your spine without all that harmful bending. First up is the modified curl up. Now, the key detail here is how you protect your low back. You keep one leg straight and you slide your hands right under the arch in your lower back. From there, you just lift your head and shoulders maybe an inch or two. That's it.
And here's the kicker. We're not counting reps. The goal is to just hold that position for 10 seconds. This is all about building muscular endurance, which is what your spine needs to stay stable all day long, not just for a few seconds of peak strength. Okay, exercise number 2, the side plank. This one is absolutely critical for the muscles on the side of your core, your obliques, and another deep muscle called the quadratus lumborum. These are what keep your spine from buckling sideways under a load.
And again, we're not trying to set a world record here. The goal is multiple perfect holds for just 10 seconds each. This builds that deep, bracing endurance and stiffness without just completely frying your muscles to the point where your form breaks down. And the final piece of the puzzle is the bird dog. This one is just brilliant. It teaches your body to keep a perfectly rigid, stable spine while your arms and legs are moving, which is, what happens in pretty much every sport and in everyday life. It's fantastic for the muscles all along your back.
And you guessed it, the goal is the same, a slow, controlled 10-second hold when your arm and leg are fully extended. The entire focus is on allowing zero movement in your torso, just pure, locked-in stability. So when you put it all together, you can see why this isometric endurance-first approach is such a game changer. It trains your core for its real job, creating a stiff, stable platform. It builds the endurance you need to stay safe when you're tired. It protects you from those repetitive, harmful movements. And it builds the foundation for absolutely everything else you want to do. So I'll leave you with this to think about. The next time you train your core, what's your actual goal? Are you training for show, chasing a six-pack with exercises that could be putting your back at risk? Or are you training for stability, building a resilient, injury-proof foundation that's going to support you for the rest of your life? The science really does point to a clear answer.